Like, you can do a lot of things from a lot of different places, but the reality is, especially for film and TV or just acting in general, there are hubs. You know, you have to be in one of the hubs.
Welcome to Get Scene Unscripted. I'm your host, Jesse Malinowski. We are going to dive into acting insights, meet industry pros, and master the business. Don't forget to subscribe and share. We're keeping you behind the scenes and ahead of the game. Hey, everyone. This is Get Scene Unscripted. I'm your host, Jesse Malinowski. Get ready for an incredible episode. But before we dive in, if you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe. And as you're watching, listening to this episode, you want to leave us a review or comment on YouTube, please do. Speaking of YouTube, that is the home of our sister show, Talent Agent Talk, with your host, Jason Lockhart. And our guest today was the very first episode of Talent Agent Talk, Mr. Mason Douglas. What's up, bro?
What's going on, Jesse? How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, man. Feeling good. It's been so cool to get to know you over the last, I feel like, few years.
Yeah, we're like 4 years in now.
4 years. Dude, you're super dope, bro. Like, you got such a good energy. And bro, like, you just like, cause you know, we were talking about the hosting stuff. I mean, like, you really do like remind me of like me when I was like coming up and like doing these, like trying to find things to stay in the business, have fun, enjoy life, and like also pursue this at the same time, but not be like film, TV actor, everything. This is all I can do. So like, I love that you like do other things.
Yeah, it's always been a passion of mine. You know what I mean? And I believe all these things, like, they push and they also help your creativity. You know, they make you a better actor, as you know. So just traveling and enjoying life and finding other hobbies. You know, you can't just be an actor. If you were just an actor, you'd probably go insane.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
So, I love it though, and I feel the same way though. I feel like I definitely am like a smaller version or a younger version of you. But it's just it's traits that we have as actors. You know what I mean? Everybody has these pieces of them that make us who we are, and we have a lot of the same characteristics, because in order to want to be an actor, you gotta just have these things, you know. So,
but I think it's also being open. You know, I think there might be other people that have another passion, but they feel like if they go after it, they're like almost betraying the actor art of things. Or like, if I am doing the hosting stuff, then I'm not being an actor when maybe I could be in a class instead. Or it's like, or is that, you know, I think we're always trying to figure out like, why are we not booking in these things? And we can create these like stories that I don't believe are true, but create these stories on like why you're not necessarily moving forward. So like, I just love that you're open, you know, to like say, hey, I also like being on stage and hyping up a crowd and getting everybody energized. And you're right, they're the traits that we have as actors, but like super fun and utilize it.
Two things can exist at once.
Yes, sir.
So everybody,
yes,
two things can exist at once. You can be more than one thing. You can be as many things as you want. Feed all of your passions, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, bro, one of my favorite stories that I learned meeting you was when you moved to Atlanta, and you got to tell this story. You saw Madi in Atlantic Station, right? Yeah. Yeah, this is the craziest story ever.
The craziest story, man. And me and Madi are still so close to this. They actually just talked to him like 3 days ago.
Did you?
Like, it's so crazy. So, so I was still living in Baltimore. This is my senior year of college. I had made the decision my senior year I wanted to move here and pursue acting. And so that whole year I sort of just mapped out my journey, you know, like I like prayed on it and came to visit in the summer, you know, went to school, finished my senior year out, and me and my dad came back to visit probably like a month before I was set to like lock in my apartment. So I graduated in May, moved the week after, like I graduated, but we came in like April. And so just grew up a big Tyler Perry fan, watched all his shows, and at the time I was watching one of his newer shows called Bruh, in which Madi's on. So me and my dad are down here visiting. We are visiting like my last 3-4 apartments, I would say, like to finalize which one I'm gonna go to. We're in Atlantic Station, and we're just walking. We like hit the corner, and we see Monty from the show, and then we see Madi, and I'm like, Dad, I think they're the guys from Bruh. And he's like, yeah, it is. And so I just naturally, just as a fan, got excited. Was like, hey, I don't mean to interrupt you guys on your, you know, this lovely Saturday, but like, I'm a fan of the show. I know you guys are on Bruh. And it was like, oh, what's going on, man? And I mean, Madi and Monty, credit to Monty, they were so just nice, man. They sat and talked to me and my dad for an hour in the middle of Atlantic Station. Like, you know, for them to be on TV, you would think the celebrity status, they were so down to earth and so cool. And I was just telling them, like, you know, I'm visiting right now, but I plan on moving because I want to pursue acting. Never taken an acting class, don't know anything about acting, where to start. I just know that I love it, and I know that people say I'm gifted and I'm talented, and so I want to put it to use. And I remember Marty just being like, you know what, man, I love this. I see the drive in you. You know, I remember being young and wanting to do this as well. And he just was like, I love also like seeing a young man and his dad, you know, out here trying to pursue this. And so he gave me his phone number, Instagram phone number that day, and was like, hit me up when you move, kid. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, I absolutely am. And so just sent them a text that day to say thank you for the conversation. It made my whole day. Like I thought that was amazing. I met actors from a Tyler Perry show. And then I did. I moved, and I would say like maybe 3 weeks after I moved, 3-4 weeks after I moved, I hit him up like, hey, I'm settled in. If the offer is still open on the table, like I'd love to just get lunch. You could tell me anything you know about the game, right? And so we did. We went to, if I'm correct, we went to the Kroger Street Hall. I think that's
Krog
here.
Street.
Krog Street. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Krog Street. So went to Krog Street Hall, and we found a little space in there, and we just sat. We talked for like 3 hours. I had a notebook, and he just gave me everything he knew. Like it was an acting class on steroids. Like
Damn.
it was insane. And then also one of my favorite things from that is like, honestly, he led me to you and Jason. Again, I'm new to this. I'm green. I don't know anything. So he's like, you know, I don't know where I can tell you to like get an agent from. It can be hard. It's almost like a secret society, but there is this one place in Atlanta that I love. And he was like, I love them because they give people who are new the opportunity to get seen. Like they give them a chance to get signed if you don't know anybody else. I'm like, cool, who is it? He was like, you need to go to Get Scene with Jesse. He was like, I'm signed to Jason. He's actually having a class. And shout out to my agent, Jason Lockhart. Absolutely love him. Absolutely the best. But I also didn't know like the dynamic of who Jason or AMT was when I got here, right? So like I didn't know I was going for the big dog, as people say, like the shark, right? So I'm just going because that's what Marty said. That's his agent. So I signed up for the Get Scene. And you know, again, it was a great time. Jason saw me; it was great. Didn't really hear feedback that much, but I didn't know anything else. Again, remember, right? This is all I knew. This is all Marty told me. And he was like, "Yeah, man, like you're doing good." One of my first like self-tape auditions he helped me with, and then I went back to the Get Scene again, not knowing anything else. Just this is what I should do because Marty said so, right? Like this is how I get into the game. And went to a second Get Scene, and Jason was like, dude, you're phenomenal. Like I've seen the growth from the first time. And the one that he kept saying was he remembered my tech suit. I love Nike tech suits. And I wore one each time. I had a different color. And he was like, man, I remember you because you had a Nike tech. And yeah, that's when Jason and AMT sent me my mock audition. Marty helped me film my mock audition.
Did he? Yo.
And then I got signed by Jason. And it's been, you know, like that ever since. And just even from then, our relationship has grown. I've grown now to get a manager as well. And my very first gig I ever booked out in LA, you know, like it was a local, you know, but it was a great opportunity for production under Issa Rae. And I called Marty because he's in LA now. And I'm like, dude, I need a place to crash. He's like, why is this a question?
Yeah.
Stay with Marty for like 10 days. So we're the closest of friends. That's my big brother. And I really appreciate and love him for that. But it's a crazy story. That's just divine timing, you know what I mean? And just right place, right time. Because even so, one small detail I forgot about when I met Marty that I think is really crucial and important is we were still like a little bit of the post-COVID times where they were more strict on like mask mandates and things like that. So one thing I really believe like that happened with it is me and my dad were out, we were walking already, but most stores you still at least had to wear a mask in, right? And we didn't have our mask on us. And so I had to run back to the car to get me and my dad's mask. And I don't know why, but I truly believe like that 30 seconds of me having to run back to the car to get the mask is what set up that divine interaction. Because when I came back, the timing of us hitting that corner, they were there.
All right, listen up. Our Booked It Challenge is so close. Oh my goodness. Our Booked It Challenge is one of my favorite challenges that we do each year. And I'll tell you, when I first created this challenge, I was a little bit nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, how are we going to create something where like people actually have to book jobs? Like that's not something in our control. But I took a leap of faith. I created the challenge. I called it the Booked It Challenge. And wouldn't you know, every single year, people book jobs. It's crazy. So this year, it could be you. This challenge is very simple. We're together for 4 weeks. We bring in an industry pro all 4 weeks and we work on auditions. I make it so simple, so easy. One, I give you some audition techniques to help you book the job once you have the audition. And the second is I give you some techniques to get more auditions. One of the things I've realized in being an actor over the last 20 years is that if you get more opportunities, you have more chances to book the job. So we need to increase our chances, and then the chances that we do get, we need to increase the quality of our auditions. So we're going to teach you exactly how to do all of those things. So sign up for our Booked It Challenge. It's only $37 and there's a $5 off promo in the description. So the link is there. The promo is there. Head there right now and come join us for our incredible Booked It Challenge. Dude, I got goosebumps 100%. I mean, 30 seconds of just like 2 people walking is like a whole other block.
Literally, we'd have missed them. If we'd have had our mask on, we'd have missed them. So I'm just truly grateful for that opportunity. And shout out to Madi. He's a phenomenal guy. Yeah. Dude,
yeah, we love Madi, man. But I want to give you credit, though. I know like it's the story sounds great to like give Madi the credit. And shout out to Madi, obviously. Shout out to Madi. But really, though, like for you to go up and talk to him, for you to like also have the awareness of like, oh, wow, like this conversation's going well. Like we can continue this. Like you said, like you talk for an hour. Then also him like sharing his number and you being brave enough to be like, I guess I'm gonna hit him up. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna go and he's like, go to Krog Street. Like I'm there, notebook, I'm ready. He said, do this. I'm just going. I'm doing it. Like there's also a sense of like, not being scared, you know, this fearlessness that you had, man, that really is the key to all of this. I mean, both are keys, but, you know, make sure not to miss out on that fearlessness and courageousness that you had. Otherwise, this also doesn't work.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely 100% right. I mean, I don't know what to say. You're absolutely right, though. That's true, because without the fearlessness, you're right, none of this would have happened. Like I had to have the, you know, ambition and not the fear to even want to come down to Atlanta from Baltimore. That took a lot, especially after college. All my family's still in Baltimore. I'm the only one here. So that was like a big leap of faith, not being scared. Again, not being scared to say hi. Some people see their, you know, celebrity, like, or people they're fans of, and they're like, you know, I don't want to bother them, you know, like, and I get that too, because I didn't, but you know, I had a question, I couldn't help it. Like I was intrigued, and you know, I was a big fan. So the curiosity and yeah, I'm glad I was fearless too as well. I'm glad, and even if I was scared, there was at least in that moment there was a sense of bravery that I had, and so you know, I want to acknowledge that, because there are times we can always get scared. I think a little bit of nervousness is always good, because I think that really just means you care. You know what I mean? Like the biggest of stars and celebrities still get a little bit of nerves before they go on stage, but that's because they care about the performance. They care about putting on the show. So I cared about how I was going to approach them. But at the end of the day, your ambition and your pursuit for your passion has to be bigger than that nervousness. So
yes, I love that you brought that up. I bring that up to a lot of people because it's all about the story and how we can reframe things. You know, people will be like, oh gosh, what do you do about nerves? And I'm like, well, instead of like us trying to get rid of the nerves, why don't we just reframe it and understand that if you're nervous, it's just because it's important to you. And so it's like, if you're nervous on set, I'm not saying we don't need to control those nerves to some extent, because you need to be able to perform. But like, instead of us trying to be like, let's get rid of these nerves, why don't we just understand that, hey, I'm nervous because this is important to me. And like, that actually feels good now.
I love that. I'm glad you agree. I always 100% say that. And I had to do the same thing. Just had to reframe it. Because you're right. You have to be able to perform and show up. So you have to keep the nerves down to an extent. But when you're nervous, that just means you care about what's about to happen. Like you care about putting your best foot forward. Like, and that's normal. Everybody, you know, has a little bit of nerve. So yeah, I absolutely love that you say that. It's completely okay to be nervous. I promise you guys. The biggest celebrities still get nervous. I don't care what you say. Beyonce has been all over the world for the millions of people. Every show I'm willing to bet Beyonce's a little nervous.
It has to.
Every show. Yeah. Yep. So.
What's your dad say now? Because like that's cool that your dad was like there with you, and like, because I mean, just kind of, dude, you've played Tupac, like you just said, you were in LA, Issa Rae, like you're major recurring on English teacher. I mean, like you're doing it, bro.
I'm doing it. You know, my dad. It's, you know, we need to get him down here and get him on the pod actually, because I can't imagine what he would say. He says a lot. That's why he says a lot. Number one, I know he says he's super proud of me. and
Good.
I'm grateful for that. As you said before, so I have to give the credit to myself. But there's so many people in my life I feel like I have to give credit to because I wouldn't be here. Jesse, I am a young kid from East Baltimore, right? Like I'm only the second person to ever go to college and graduate in my family. This being an actor is like far fetched, right? And I will never forget the day. It was Mother's Day, my junior year. And I remember I was trying to pursue this acting thing. I saw Tyler Perry post that, like, if you wanted to get on one of his shows, that was how I first heard about Actors Access. He said you can submit an audition. So I was trying to pursue this acting thing in Baltimore a little bit, right? And because I was closer geographically to New York, I would get some Broadway stuff, some plays, and I would absolutely want to do Broadway one day, right? But I knew, at least for the time being, I'm a TV film kid. Like, I want to be on TV. And so, it wasn't really working like that, but I was submitting back in Baltimore. And my dad was the one taping me. And I will never forget, he's the reason I came here, man. Like, we were sitting outside of TGI Fridays one day. We were picking up my mom's food. It was Mother's Day. We was picking up food just to go back to the crib and hang out with her. And we're in the parking lot, and he told me 3 things. He was like, son, number one, if you were trash, I would tell you. Like, I would never just let you be out here bad, embarrassing yourself. Like, he's like, we do these auditions. And he was like, I feel like I'm watching the show. Like, you may not be the best, but you're good. Like, you got something. So that's number one. If you were trash, I would tell you. Number two, he knows I'm not like easy peer pressure. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't like something, I'll quit easy all day long. Like, if I'm not feeling it, I'll stop, So he's like, you haven't stopped this yet. Like, you picked this up a couple months ago, a year ago, and like, you're really trying. And so he was like number three, lastly, I think you're like a flower getting watered every day, but you're sitting on the floor. And I love that analogy. He was like, you need to be in the windowsill. Like, you have the right mentality, the right hustle, right talent, right drive. You have the right everything. And you're pouring into this craft every day, but just in the wrong environment. Like, Baltimore can't do anything for you.
Damn.
And he literally was like, that day was like, you need to go. And I will never forget. That's the day I made up my mind. Like, if my dad can support me, because my dad is like my everything. He's always, he's the one that helped build the life that we have, coming from East Baltimore and just living in a impoverished city. And, Baltimore has a stigma, and a lot of it is true. But when I heard him say that, that's when I was like, if my dad can believe in me and my dad is okay with me going, like, I should go. And that's the day I started looking up apartments in Atlanta. And that's when I visited that summer. I prayed on it. And like I said, that following April, he went with me and we met Marty. So my dad would probably just be like, I'm glad I told you to go. I think if anything, that's exactly what he would say. I think he would say, I'm glad I told you to leave. Because
Let's go,
it paid
Pops.
off. Yeah,
Let's
shout
go.
out to Pop. Shout out to Carl. Carl with the K, as they call him.
Carl with a K.
Yeah.
I mean, really, really simple, but very powerful points, I think, that you just brought up. And I want to talk about the windowsill. I mean, damn, that's, again, so like easy and basic, but it's like, if you're not in the right environment, you are not going to grow to your potential.
Man, it
Period.
matters. It matters, bro. When that is my favorite point of all of them. Every time he said, and I couldn't think about like what made him say that, but it was so true. Like, and I love Baltimore. I love where I'm from. I miss the cuisine so bad. Of course, all my family's up there and friends. Like, I miss it. But if I would have never came here, I wouldn't grow. I wouldn't be able to make them proud. I wouldn't be able to have my friends like recording their screen saying Mace is on TV. You know what I mean? So like, it just it meant a lot because I get it. A lot of people want to chase this thing. They say they want this, and I hear you. But do you really want it if you're not willing to get uncomfortable and change your environment? Like, you can do a lot of things from a lot of different places, but the reality is, especially for film and TV or just acting in general, there are hubs. You have to be in one of the hubs. LA, New York, Atlanta. I know Chicago's, getting bigger, and even, Southeast stuff like in Tennessee, a little bit in like New Mexico, but you have to be there. I mean, if you could be the most talented person ever, but you can't stay in Montana. You know what I mean? Like, no offense to Montana, you can't stay in these areas. You have to come to a hub. So, it's important, man. You got to be in the right environment. You could water your plant every day. You could love it. You could care for it. But if you're on the floor and not in the windowsill getting sun, you're never gonna get seen.
Damn.
No pun intended.
Mic
You're
drop.
never gonna get seen,
drop.
man. Yeah.
I think that's so powerful because I think there's a lot of actors and probably a lot listening right now that are just outside the hub, and yes, there are the self-tapes and you can come work local. And, like what I'll say so frequently is, they're like, well, I live in Charlotte or I live, where outside somewhere, like, can I still get like an Atlanta agent? I'm like, you can, we have strategies to help you do that. But the truth is like the agent is like if this man right here is going to move from Baltimore, that shows a different type of commitment than you being like, do I really got to leave Orlando?
Yeah.
Can't I stay? It's like, why would I give you the chance staying in Orlando, not wanting to make any kind of sacrifices, change your commitment level, get into the right environment when we have people like you that are like, I'm going to pick up my whole life, leave my family, leave my friends. That's how committed I am to this. Like, it just says something else,
Yeah.
you know? So I love that you brought that up because it really is just so powerful that, you know, you get in that right environment, but it just says, not only is it going to help you grow better and faster, but it also just says something else about you, right? It just says something else about the commitment and who you are and what you're willing to do for this.
Yeah. I totally agree. Like, it's just different. You know what I mean? Like, and I believe being in this space just brings more opportunities.
And you also have to like show up differently, right? Like if you didn't leave Baltimore, you know, I think you're like still trying, you're working hard, right? But like you're here, you're like, oh no, I gotta make this work.
Like, I have no choice.
You have no choice, yes.
I picked up my entire life.
Yep.
I have no choice. There is no plan B.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna find a way to make plan A work. Plan A version 1.1, version 1.2, and all and so forth and so forth. It's like, yeah, I believe being in this space too has just helped me. Like the connections I've made, man. Like I ran into Marty just being in the space. You know what I mean? Like those are prime examples.
Everything.
It changes everything. Like you have to be in the area, and then like. Yeah, I left my family and friends, but I had built a community here. There are others. There are thousands of other people like me. There are people that picked up their lives, and they like, you know, they might feel alone here, but now we're all chasing this similar goal. So you don't feel alone because there are other people who feel how you feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They had things like the Southeast Actors Summit where you're gonna find community. You're gonna find resources. There are other people who are doing short films, and even if you're not on the big networks yet, like it just makes you feel like you're doing progress. You can't do that from the comfort of your home in Kentucky. It's just not gonna happen. You know what I mean? So, and I think it's just something about the cities too that have TV and film because, you know, again, the reality is like they coincide with just how big TV and film are. These are major cities. It's inspiring, you know what I mean? You're in the big city and the big lights, and it's something about being here in Atlanta that gives you a drive to want to do more because you see a lot. Like some of your favorite actors, they just live here and they live normally, casually. So you can be in Atlantic Station again or somewhere at a festival in Piedmont Park and see one of your favorite actors from Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
And it's like, how does that not inspire you to be like, oh my God, like they're doing this, they're living like this, they're here. I know I want to be around there. I want to be in proximity. You know, they say you hang around 5 millionaires, you'll be the 6. Like,
yeah,
that you just, it's something about being here, you know, and I can't make it, you know, I can't make everybody see that. But for the people who do, just know moving here changed my life. Again, I'm not A-list yet. I'm not, you know, the billionaire status, right? But like, I'm so happy with coming here. I wouldn't change it for the world. Coming to Atlanta changed my life, not only for my acting career, but just who I am. It builds character when you leave where you're from. You know what I mean? You find out who you are. You find out more about yourself. You find out how strong you are. You know, it turned me more into a man, you know? And so I graduated college and came here a week later. And I know I was adult already, right? But like living on your own again, for real, for the first time. Because college is like, okay, you're away from your family, you're living on your own.
but you could always go home.
Yeah, you got roommates, you're having fun. You're still in the playful area. Like, no, now that I'm adult, it's like, it's, you know, finding a way to make sure my bills are paid while also chasing this dream. My priorities are totally different. The focus is way different. You know what I mean? The people you connect and you want to, you know, intertwine into your life are way different. So I just truly believe like making this leap of faith is bigger than your acting career. It's for you. It's your integrity. It's your character. It's your strength. It's your charisma, your passion. And, you know, I wouldn't change it to like I could change my entire career path. I still think moving to Atlanta was one of the best things I've ever done.
Good for you, bro. Congrats. Well, you're talking about, you know, it really helped you become a man. I'm actually going to bring you back to being like a boy because you play a student in English teacher.
Yes,
Dude,
I do.
English teacher is like one of my favorite shows right now. It's hilarious. So good. I mean, we share an English teacher credit, but you have such a better role on it. But bro, I'm such a fan, and when in season 1, every time I would see you there, I'd be so excited for you. How has that experience been? And you know, back on season 2, so
Yeah.
we'll be on the lookout for that. You know, you're in more than half the season. So
Yeah, bro. Oh man. I mean, season 2 and just English teaching itself has been one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. Not only just because of the type of show it is, but for me personally, it's been very different, like than a lot of my other credits, right? And what I mean by that is like just the community that's on that set. It's built on being diverse. It's built on bringing up real issues, just
yes.
in a lighthearted way.
Mhm.
I love the fact that English Teacher is a show that's not scared to push the needle forward. You know what I mean? Like they talk about real things. From last season, one of my favorite episodes was like the school shooting one.
Yep.
Like we made some lighthearted jokes. Was like that's such a real issue. You know what I mean? And I was so happy that they wanted to talk on that. You know, of course, like the LGBT community is very big in it, and it's so dope. And it's like that behind the scenes. I mean, from cast to crew, everybody's so different and unique, and we're always willing to have conversations. But we do it in such a friendly, lighthearted way, and it's so family oriented on set. And it's funny you say like back to bringing a boy, because even though I am a man, I do get to feel like a child on set. Oh man,
Yeah.
we shoot in like a real school, and they call them like the student days on set, right? Because other than that, it's the main cast. But the student days, they'll have us all there. You know, we have like a prom episode, and then we have like book club, of course. But like, don't let us have to be the set, and we're like the third or fourth scene of the day. Oh, the PAs, they're mom and dads. Okay, we literally have a mom PA and a dad PA, because they're like, where are my children? We run around the school like actual children. We're
For
in
real?
oh, it's like it's hilarious because we really act like kids, like high school kids. So we're like,
Yeah.
okay, like they're like, you guys are good. You don't got to get dressed yet. You know, the sit and wait, hurry up and wait, right? The big acting thing, right? But if we're gonna wait, we're gonna have some fun. So we're like on the football field, hanging out. They're like, don't get sweaty in your clothes. And we're in the gym, we're in the cafeteria having photo shoots. But it's just so fun. It's so fun. I love the fact that everybody got so close so fast, honestly. And then I think that just makes our chemistry much better. You know, we actually hang
Yeah.
out and things like that. But English teachers a ball because we run through that school like actual students. So I love it. You know, shout out to English teacher, shout out to FX, shout out to Brian Jordan Alvarez for creating the show, and all my castmates. I'm super excited. You can look forward to the same thing again this season. We're talking about real issues. You know, we have like an AI episode, which is gonna be super dope. You know,
Yeah.
as that's getting big, and then Brian's still going through a lot of his mess on the show and things like that. So, you know, just I'm excited. So definitely be on the lookout. Yeah, shout out to English teacher.
What like when I booked it, and at first I didn't realize that Brian was the showrunner, is like even directing some of the episodes, is a writer, he's just leading in it. I was like, damn, right?
He's cold.
And every time I see that, I'm always like, that might be too many hats. That might be too many hats. And then I saw the show and I was like, no, this man fucking crushed. Like
Brian's a genius.
I'm a big
Brian's
fan of Brian.
A genius. Like when I
He's
say
dope.
he's a genius, man. Like his brain never stops, and he makes it look so easy. That's the thing about it. Like his brain, it never stops, and he always is just able to move and flow. Like I've seen him switch from different hats in a matter of a couple of seconds. Like we'll be in the scene, and he'll like say something to one of the cam ops in like a shot, like so he's directing, and then like he'll switch and be like, okay guys, what do you think? Like you want to give some notes? So then he's like castmate, and then all of a sudden I hear somebody in the back. He's like, no, we need to do this from this to this, and like he's running the showrunner. I'm like, and then the action. I'm like, how does he do this?
Right.
At the end of the day, after all of that, he's such a phenomenal human being, man. Like he's just such a kind guy. He speaks to everyone on set. He knows that because he's number one on the call sheet, like he sets the tone for the day.
Yep.
So I've never seen him have an off day, which I know is hard.
Mm-hmm.
I know he has his bad days as a human. He probably doesn't want to talk or something might go wrong on set. I've never seen Brian have a bad day on set. And that's a very big tell to who his character is. So, yeah, just like you said, I'm just a huge fan. I'm honored that he saw something in me to play Frank. Because I know like even though I forgot exactly who was casting the project at the time. Forgive me, Southeast casting directors, but I do know like
Felstein Paris.
Thank you. Shout out to Felstein Paris. They booked me like 3 times, so I love you guys. But yeah, I know Brian did. He saw our tapes. You know what I mean? Like he was sort of like one of the final saves, of course, because he runs everything. And I just had a conversation with him on set that time. Like when I first joined in season 1, I was like, "Thank you for seeing something in me." He was like, "Dude, your tape was phenomenal." Because actually, he didn't audition for Frank. audition for like 2 other characters, and he was like, "No, I loved your tape so much. Like I had to have you on the show." And so that meant a lot to me. But yeah, I appreciate Brian for his eye, his vision, and he's definitely he's a megastar for sure.
Seeing everything that he's done on set and being on set for so many episodes, so many days, what would you say is maybe one of the most impactful things that you've learned or taken away, or that you are trying to strive to grow in you, that you've seen, whether it be from Brian or somebody on that set?
That's a good question, man. For me, I think honestly, one thing, man, that's a good question. I think one of the biggest things I take away honestly from the set, which is probably like simple and I like it's been said, but just be fluid. Like Brian's really fluid, and what I mean by that is like he's willing to adjust to any and everything, right? Like there is no. So I know like in improv we always say yes and, but he does yes and when it comes to the entire show, not just like script. When it comes to shots, when it comes to a location, when it comes to a scene, like everything is just, and he's fluid in anything. And I love the fact that he's able to make that adjustment, because then when he's able to make that adjustment, everybody else is able to make that adjustment. It's really like a ripple effect and a chain effect. I've seen us switch entire days off of a yes and.
Right.
So like being fluid and being adaptable, being ready for change and being open to change. And like you said, with him wearing so many hats, at usually one of his hats, that person on another show would be stern. Like the showrunner would be like, "No, this is where I draw the line," or the director's like, "No, this is it. This is what we say. This is what we're doing." It's never that with any of his hats or him at all. It's just always he's so fluid. So I think that was something I would take away, because I think that's what makes the show so different. I've been on a lot of other sets and projects, and things are very protocol, right? And protocol is good because it keeps you on schedule and it keeps things in order. But there's a gift and there's something beautiful about being yes and on the entire project.
Right.
Yeah, so I like that.
What you saying the yes and on the entire project, man, actually just like I feel like really like inspires me and makes me think of like how can we bring yes and like more to our life?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like anytime there's, you know, I'll like teach this when it comes to auditions or bookings. You know, people always like want the bigger role, or how do I move to guest star? So should I start saying no to co-star or whatever? But it's like there's something about yes momentum and yes and, right? It's like when you continue to say yes, more things come your way that you're able to say yes to. As soon as you say a no, or you put up a block, like it's a wall, it's a block, you know? And so you talking about how powerful it is, just yes and on all areas of set. I'm just like, yo, and how powerful could it be if we can incorporate that just in more areas of our life? Just like, you know, us trying to figure out what we're gonna go have for dinner. Like just yes and it, instead of like, what are we gonna watch? Just yes and it. Instead, we just scroll Netflix trying to look at all the trailers, just looking at all the posters, and then we don't decide on anything.
Man, dude, that's Jesse, that's so powerful, because I didn't think about that either. But like, you're right. If we just yes and everything, that's why I'm still honestly trying to figure it out. And I thought it might have sounded cliche because we use it in improv, but when you just yes and life, it could probably change everything. I've like on set we yes and everything. Like there's not a day on set where I feel like it relieves the stress. Man, there's nobody on set is stressful or like anxious. I don't know if you've seen it. Certain sets are just tense, right? Like because we're like, we gotta do this, gotta do that. Like, schedule protocol. Like, just yes and be open, be ready, be excited for change. Just yes and it. Like, can we do this? Yes. Okay, but how can we do this? Okay, and this is where we figure it out. You know what I mean? Should I try this? Can I say this? Yes. Okay, then how do you want to do it? And here is where we figure it out. Like, so that's powerful, man. I didn't even think about that. That's yes and life.
Yes and life. I know.
Yes,
dude, I mean, obviously, I know the saying as well, but I really, I didn't think of it that way until you talked about it being on set, which I think is really powerful.
He's fluid with everything, man. Like, he says no to nothing.
That's dope.
He says no to nothing.
That's dope.
Yeah. I love English teacher. I think you're gonna like this season. I think everybody's gonna like this season.
Oh, I know it. I mean, the first season was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. I was a huge fan of the show. Huge fan of the show. So, with with everything that you've done so far, is there something else that stands out other than English teacher that was like a big lesson for you, a big aha moment within the business, within your journey?
I mean, there's so many because acting is an ever growing journey. But I think, you know what? I actually do have one, and this is not your typical one. I did a movie. I was the lead of this movie. I was number one on this call sheet, right? It was produced and written by a major music producer, a guy named Irv Gotti. Shout out to Irv Gotti. Irv Gotti has now passed, so long live Irv Gotti, and shout out to him. Phenomenal guy. But there were things in the, how do I put this, like the project structure deal that were still being worked out by him before his passing. I know his team is, still working on it apparently, but it never came out. I filmed this movie in summer of 2022, right? And loved it, right? Because it was just a phenomenal script, but I also got the amazing experience. I got to be the Brian of that set, right? Like I understood the responsibility of being number one and having to carry a certain energy and just always showing up prepared and, all the things, right, of being like a lead of a movie. But I know as an actor, some of the things that keep us pushing, at least I know for me, what keeps me pushing is like, I don't quit because I know like that next audition could be the audition. You know what I mean? So low key at this point in time, I thought like that project or that casting could have been like the one. I'm like, okay, when people see this, like they're gonna see my real talent. I'm carrying a film. I don't know where it's gonna go, but this could start to take off something, right? And I harped a lot of feelings on it. Mm-hmm. And I even harped a lot of feelings on the production, right? Because I'm like, what's happening? Like, I've seen other projects do turnarounds in 6 months, or I've got my credit, this, that, and the third. And so I think what that told me is to like enjoy every moment and appreciate it, but don't get stuck on a specific project. Like, don't attach your talent to a specific project, right? Because you are much bigger than, one thing. And as we can see, like it never came out. And that's Hollywood, man. Like things happen in deal structures and money and just, sometimes it could just be caught up in business emotions, right? Like we don't know what the behind the scenes are. So the same way you don't understand like why you might have got a casting, you think it's because you just might have booked it. But the other 2-3 choices that were before you could have got sick, already been booked, right? You just have to be grateful for the moment. But that also just means to like be present and then move on. So I would tell people that's not typical, right? Like I'm not gonna act like it's typical. That doesn't always happen. If you have a project, it typically would come out. But there are big projects that don't come out. And
I'm going to take that to the next level though, because I want to talk about this is really good. I'm so glad you brought this up, man, because you're like, I got this. This is going to be the game changer, essentially, right? Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, most projects come out. I'm like, I know so many projects and so many people in town that I'm friends, so many acquaintances, friends, people that I'm like, they booked this show. They're this major recurring guest star opposite so-and-so.
Yeah, you're like they out of there.
This is the game changer.
They're gone, yeah.
And it's not. It's not. And like, how often do we count our chickens before they hatch, as the saying goes, right? And we're like, this is the one. And it's because we want it so bad, right? We want it so bad to be the one. And it's just like, that is just so much harder than you even realize. And again, like, I'm just like, now I'm like, I'm not like a skeptic, right? But I'm just like, do not do that. You're going to set yourself up for disappointment, because the fastest way to be disappointed is just when expectations aren't met.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So if you book ABC show, I'm not going to start calling out the shows, right? But you book ABC show and you're like, I'm in all of these episodes or most of all of these episodes, and I'm recurring guest star. Like, I'm like a major person in the show. This is going to be it for me. And for some reason, no one watches the show. Like,
you just never know.
Yeah, you have no idea. You never know. And I've seen it with people on HBO. I've seen it with people on Peacock. I've seen it with people on major, like all of the, like, it's crazy. Yeah. And so you have to continuously, I think, not only like be grateful, but be very careful with your expectations.
Man, that changed a lot for me. I think, funny enough, that was a big moment for me. And I appreciated that, because out of all my moments, I'm like, the one I thought, like, it never even came out. Like, you know what I mean? Still grateful for it, but I'm like, okay, you're right. Just you just never know. Just be grateful and be present in each casting and each project, and let what happens happens. Because then it could be the show you least expect to blow up.
Yeah.
One of my favorite examples of one of my favorite shows that I used to watch was like Manifest. I remember Manifest was on its way to getting canceled. Manifest came out like 2017, and then all of a sudden it got put on Netflix for like 2-3 seasons, and it blew up 5-6 years later. Those people thought they were out of careers.
Yeah.
And now they're the biggest thing in the world, 7-6, like, you know what I mean? So you just never know how it's going to go on either end of it. But yeah, that was a big one for me. So I totally agree. Yeah, because I can only imagine it does come out and then you're still like, I thought this was the one, and it's not.
Yep.
Like, oh man, yeah.
Yep.
So, lessons in Hollywood. But.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Mason, I think this brings us to our spotlight sign off, which is 5 questions to end strong, my man.
Let's do it.
Number 1, what's something you're super grateful for today?
To be here. I'm grateful to be here because it makes me feel seen, makes me feel thought of. It makes me feel like I'm actually making some real progress. I feel honored to be on the pod, that you even thought of me, and that you'll be honored to be honored that my voice is being heard. So that I'm super grateful for. Thank you so much, Jesse, for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome, man. You deserve it. You're spitting some gems. I know that we had some like really good stuff today. So definitely making an impact and helping people right now.
Yeah.
Question 2 is, what is a television show, movie, or book that changed the trajectory of your life?
Ooh. Oh, this is good. So many. Okay, I'm going to go with I got so many, but I think I'm gonna go with Money Heist. Money Heist is a Spanish show about like bank robberies, right? And this high intelligence team that is trying to like rob I forget, it's like the gold. They got all the gold or something in Spain. And that changed my life only because it grew my perspective on film and television, because number one, the whole show was in Spanish. You know what I mean? Like I had to read the subtitles, and it made me understand how big the art form really is. And then just how talented, and like I watched behind the scenes of how they trained for that project. They trained longer than they actually performed. Like they were like taking like, gun holding classes, and they did like a couple martial arts, and just, how actual banks are like what's called like operated, so they can make the show make sense, right? You don't want to be too far fetched. I know TV is make believe, but this is how the actual bank is operated. So the timing of when the shifts change and things, like I watched all those like behind the scenes, and they trained for like 6 months and they filmed it in 2.5. So I was like, that's the type of dedication you got to put in to want to like do this. And so it's one of my favorite series of all time. I love Money Heist. Yeah, that changed my life for sure.
Damn. So it was, like, how did it, like, I understand the work that had to go in, and then it also kind of showed you maybe like a little bit more of like a global perspective, but like, how did, like, it gave you like more belief in yourself, or it gave you the ability of like, oh, I want to put in that type of work?
Yeah, okay, so I should say that. Like, that's how it changed my life. That, like, it gave me that type of like mentality ready for that kind of grind. Like, I was ready to now put in more than I might have received, if that makes sense. Because when I found out they trained for 6 months and they filmed it in 2.5, I'm like, dang, like, you would think for something like that, that's like a year shoot, or but I was ready to deep dive into the work. I was ready to deep dive into like every detail of whatever I do to make it make sense, just so it's believable. When I found out they did classes and studies on the Bank of Spain and all the gold, like, it makes me want to do research now on just not my part, not my character, right? But like the entire story, the history, the art of like just things in life in general, right? And that's on a global scale. Like, if I, for whatever reason, I'm doing a project and, we're going to Mexico, what is it about Mexico that I really need to know that's like factual? Like, I'm ready to deep dive and do the work and study for 3 months about Mexico, even though I'm only going to be there for 7 days to shoot. Like, it was that kind of thing. I was ready to like just flip my brain into that kind of mode, as in like put in more work than you might get out. Because when you do it, the result is going to affect people differently. Because that show, I could watch it over and over. And it intrigued me so much that I went down a black hole of looking at those behind the scenes. Like, the show was so good, it made me go find out that information. you know? So if it could affect me like that, I was like, I want to become the person that can affect others like that.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah, that's how I changed my life. Yeah.
Question 3 is, what's something in your morning routine that you, or your daily routine that you really cherish?
Prayer. Just waking up every morning and spending like 2 minutes with God before I touch my phone, before I speak with anybody, before I just get my busy day started. Just prayer, thanking God for another day of life. Cherishing the little things, man, just getting to and from my destination safely. Just the small things. I really cherish those moments because we all know life is short. So
Yeah.
my morning routine, it's like clockwork. Wake up, might sit on the side of the bed for 3 minutes, 5 minutes to get my life together. But then I just say a quick prayer and then I get my day started.
Good for you. Good for you. Take that time, take that patience, not jump into it so quickly.
Yeah.
What's something you're currently trying to improve in your life right now?
In my life, my gym habits. I don't go to the gym as much as I should too, honestly. Like I'm young and I can appreciate my physique just from being young, but I'm like at some point I'm gonna have to work for it. So I'm trying to get to the gym more days than not these days. So yeah, I'm trying to improve my gym habits.
So true. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, no, it's good. You need that. You got to turn that into like a legit life habit for the longevity.
I'm trying to train for Creed 4, man. I gotta get big like Michael B.
There you go. Well, last question then. We went over some dope stuff. So it might be a flashback to one of those, or it might be something completely different. But if you wanted all the listeners to get something for sure, one thing for sure, what would it be?
Take that leap of faith. Yeah, like what we talked about earlier. I moved, I did it, and changed my life. So I know it's scary, but it can be done. There's a lot of organizing you can do. There's a lot of planning you can do because I did both. There is don't get me wrong, there is a process, right? But the process does come to an end at some point. You know what I mean? Like you can run the mile, but at some point you have to jump. So take that leap of faith.
Damn. Yeah. I love the like all the planning, all that stuff, like eventually comes to an end. Eventually you can only plan so much. You eventually just got to do it.
You just got to do it.
That's fire, bro.
I planned the move. I planned, when I wanted to move, how I was going to do it, and when I was going to do it. But then it was like.
And within that, there were some things
jump.
that like you couldn't plan for, that shifted, that changed, that you just got to be ready for. So for you worriers out there, that's just part of it. There's always going to be something that comes up. You can't plan for everything.
Yeah.
The leap of faith, you got to take it. You got to jump.
Take the leap.
Hell yeah, bro. Dude, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thanks for spending the time and sharing your insight, bro.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Get Scene.
Everyone, thanks again for tuning in. If you're here and you haven't subscribed already, this is your final sign to do so. If you enjoyed this episode, send it to a friend. We appreciate you being here and choosing the podcast to be on your journey. Thanks again. We'll see you on the next one.